In the Russian-Ukrainian war, drones have become key on and off the battlefield. The enemy army uses Shaheds to exhaust the Ukrainian air defense. Ukraine has chosen a different path. Instead of massive attacks, pinpoint strikes on vulnerable but critically important targets on Russian territory. Forbes reports. For this purpose, Ukraine uses drones of the Lyuty type. The development of the drone began in 2022 by specialists from the Antonov ASTC in participation with Ukroboronprom. It was originally created as a kamikaze drone for long-range strikes. Initially, the drone weighed up to 300 kilograms, carried a load of up to 50 kilograms, and flew a distance of up to 1,000 kilometers. The drone currently carries a 75-kilogram warhead and flies a distance of up to 2,000 kilometers. Given its long range and the high likelihood of operating in electronic warfare environments, Lyutyi is not designed to be remotely piloted. Instead, it relies on satellite navigation and inertial navigation systems, at least during the initial portion of its flight. As it approaches its target, Lyutyi uses a machine vision system that allows it to fly complex flight paths, avoid radar detection, evade short-range air defense systems, and accurately engage its target. The Kremlin is keeping information about Ukrainian drone attacks secret. However, it is known that on January the 18th, 2024, Lyutyi struck an oil refinery in St. Petersburg, 900 kilometers from the border. On March the 13th, Lyutyi struck an oil refinery in Ryazan, and in June, the Mozdok airbase in North Ossetia. In 2025, the modernized Lyutyi began to be used more and more often to strike deep into the Russian Federation. On March the 13th, a gas pipeline in the Saratov region was hit, and in April, the base of the 112th Missile Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces in Shuya. On July the 1st, the Kupol plant in Izhevsk was attacked. On July the 27th, Lyutyi was spotted in the skies over the Leningrad region. On July the 31st, an electronics plant in Penza was attacked. And on August the 1st, a fuel depot in Sochi. Given its success in striking Russian targets, the use of the Lyutyi is expected to increase, especially given Germany's recent investment in producing 500 additional units. While not as popular as its Russian counterpart, Ukraine's Lyutyi drone has played an equally important role in the Russia-Ukraine war. With its ability to conduct long-range, precision strikes, it has successfully destroyed key targets inside Russia. Given the importance of these operations, the Lyutyi's role is likely to expand as Ukraine seeks to push the fighting deeper into Russian territory. Russia is spreading claims that Ukraine's defense forces are preparing for counter-offensive operations in August or early September. Viktor Yahun, former deputy head of the SBU Reserve Major General and military expert, said this on Espresso TV. The Russians are actively circulating reports that Ukraine is planning a large-scale counter-offensive in August or early September. They genuinely expect it. Yahun said, "As far as I know, no such operation is planned at the moment, though there are some signs that our defense forces are preparing for something." Yahun said he believes Ukraine can withstand Russia's ongoing offensive. According to him, once the Ukrainian defense forces stop the Russian advance, the country will be in a stronger position. The most important task now is to hold out against the onslaught Putin promised to deliver within 60 days, he said. Then we'll be able to look those in the eye who claimed Ukraine wouldn't survive this offensive and would collapse. I believe we will hold. We'll stop the enemy and enter September much stronger than they expect. In this case, the liberation of Kindrativka in Sumy region is part of stabilization efforts by Ukrainian forces, not the start of a large-scale counter-offensive, said military expert and former deputy chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Ihor Romanenko. According to Romanenko, the situation involves holding back the advance of Russian forces after they crossed the border and launched an offensive. At the Kotin-Yablunivka line, our troops were deployed there. The decision involved the 225th Separate Assault Battalion from Kursk region and some additional efforts, and we managed to stabilize the western flank of the entire line in particular, he noted. The expert reported that Kindrativka became the second settlement to be retaken, and Ukrainian forces are now trying to secure their positions in those areas. He pointed out that the enemy ended up in a river bend which limits their maneuvering capabilities. Our forces are conducting offensive actions there, driving the enemy into this bend, and the river is all around. They either have to cross it to escape or wait for someone to help transfer reserves. In any case, the situation is difficult for them, the expert emphasized. However, the situation remains tense, especially on the eastern flank. Russian forces managed to capture Yablunivka, and fighting for Yunakivka continues. To say there is an offensive in this direction, I think that would be inaccurate. But the western flank has been stabilized. Hopefully, the same can be done on the eastern side, he said. The expert also stressed the importance of controlling Yunakivka, as it provides a tactical advantage in the Sumy direction. It's not about the course of an offensive. Counterattacks were carried out there. The 225th Separate Assault Battalion and previous actions to liberate settlements, both then and now, are very important and necessary, he said. He added that if additional forces were available, Ukrainian troops could take advantage of the situation as the enemy is trapped in the river bend. They can either be captured, defeated, or destroyed there. But the enemy is also aware of this and will respond accordingly with their reserves, Romanenko explained.